Jaffe, how the fuck would anyone have found the hidden message in God of War? Your job was not to find the hidden message if you didn't want to, Jacob. Jacob says no one was spending 10 minutes of hitting a statue. Cool. It wasn't meant for everyone. It was meant as a reward for the person who was like, I'm curious. This is weird. Let me get around with this. Oh, shit. It paid off. That's why it's there. If you got the secret message because somebody told you the number, then you don't deserve it. Strategy guides and walkthroughs. I find the whole thing really distasteful.
But people want them.
I know, and you said that the biggest successes your magazine put out were tips and tricks and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you playing a game then? Why don't you go watch a fucking movie? If you want to read a magazine or buy a strategy guide or do a walkthrough in order to get through the game, shame on you for coming at me and saying I never finish games. Most y'all don't either if you have to use a fucking walkthrough to get through it.
To be fair, not so much nowadays, but back then there were a lot of secrets.
Oh, a secret, that's a little different though. That's different. That's like, okay, if you want to find this crazy big head mode, okay, totally different. But I'm talking about, here's the map for this particular cave in Elden Ring, and here's where you get all the items, and here's this monster, and here's the best kit to take the monster out. At which point I'm like, what the fuck are you playing the game for? Marvel Snap is no different. Marvel Snap I love, one of my favorite games of all time now. But how many people are rising in the leaderboard just because they've gone online?
Same thing with Hearthstone, using the cookie cutter
yeah, look at this
decks.
Fucking thing. It's just ridiculous. Don't fucking call yourself a gamer if you do this shit.
It's annoying as fuck.
Because
it's Hearthstone and everyone plays the same decks.
Yeah, and it's like, why are you playing? You didn't build that deck. You didn't think about the synergy of that deck. You just decided to go online and go, I'm going to copy this deck, and I'm good.
It's a big part of the fun to actually build a deck.
Yes, especially.
I came up with this.
That's right. I figured this is part of the puzzle. It's part of the game. Way the Lao says we're wrong on this. What are you talking about? How are we wrong? I'm not gatekeeping Bacon Magma the way people play games. You have a right to do whatever the fuck you want to do. But don't come at me and tell me that you're more of a gamer because you finish games you play, when in reality, if it wasn't for a strategy guide or a walkthrough, you wouldn't have finished them. And that doesn't mean, look, a good game will lead you down the path to a good time, right? If it's a bad game and you get stuck to the point that you quit it, then that's a problem with the game. If a lot of people are quitting at the same moment, they did a bad job. But short of that, the game is there to be played. Oh, hey, it's Bookster. What's up, Bookster? How you doing, man?
Pretty good, you?
Well, you know, I'm mad. I'm in a mad mood today because I don't like these people who build their decks and build their fucking Diablo loadout. It's like, build your own fucking loadout.
Well,
build your own. Play Diablo a little bit and then go, you know what armor works for me? This armor. I'm fighting a spider monster. Let me go to the internet and see exactly what I need to become so I can conform and be like everyone else because I like winning more than I like actually doing. I fucking hate it, Bookster.
So my question there, though, is you have a esports coach.
I do.
And they're, like, teaching you how to be better at games. What's the difference, like, from a multiplayer aspect? Because everyone in multiplayer games, there's usually, like, a meta for it, and you have the same strategy. So how's that any different?
It's very different.
Going up and
because the person...
tips and tricks, though.
No, well, the person I'm working with is a sports psychologist, right? He's not like a Call of Duty expert who says, okay, you're now playing the lighthouse map, and this corner right here is really where you want to plant and mount your gun because there's 8 ways people could be coming, but with the field of view on the console version, you're able to see 6 of those all at the same time, right? That's not what he does. It's about when you get stressed in a difficult moment of any game, you probably start holding your breath. Well, when you start holding your breath, here's what happens to your reflexes. So start to train your brain to learn when you're fighting a particular difficult boss in a single-player game or you're in a really challenging part of a multiplayer game, and learn to recognize those moments so you can breathe and settle and stay focused. That's just simply training as it relates to sort of how to stay engaged with the product, right? Or even if we were going to get more specific, if I went to a Marvel Snap expert, I don't want them to build me a deck, but I would want them to say, let's go through all of the cards and let's talk about how cards can have synergy with one another. And let's talk about how when you build your own deck, if you pick this card, it's really cool, but you need these other two things to occur before this card really reaches its full potential. I want you, Jaffe, who I'm training, to recognize these opportunities and frequency of opportunities and then use that knowledge as one of the things you use to build your decks. That's teaching you how to play the game. That's not telling you, here's the cheat code. You understand the difference?
Yeah, I had a misunderstanding. I thought you had an esports coach who was just coaching you specifically through a specific game.
No,
he's the mechanics and using. Okay.
He's an esports coach, but his focus is on sports psychology. He's not like Ninja looking to make an extra buck. And he's like, I played a lot of this. Let me tell you the tips and tricks. No, it's that's why I'm interested. I disagree, says Jacob. I use strategy guys to find stuff like packages, speedrun, find stuff developers didn't implement well. Okay, again, if you're speed running and that's your goal, fine. Sure, I get that. If you're finding stuff because the game is poorly made and you still want to play it, I get that as well. But if you're playing a game, like let's just take Grand Theft Auto, I don't know what 5 does. It's been a while. I don't remember if it's bags of cocaine or whatever, but there's like 100 bags of cocaine in the fucking thing. If you have to go to a strategy guide to find where the last 4 are, you're robbing yourself of what the actual game is, because the fun is supposed to be getting stuck and going, I don't know where to look, right? That's part of the fucking fun. Now, Elden Ring, gets a little bit of a pass because the designer has said, Miyazaki has said, I have made this really hard to get your head around all of it. And so I like the idea. I think his story was somebody helped him change a flat tire. And he was like, that's really cool when a stranger helps you out. I like the idea of building a game that really you can get more out of when people start sharing. I think that's cool. But there's a difference between that and buying a book and just going, here's how you do this, that, and the other.
There's something about From Software games in the sense that people, they rave about how hard they are and the challenge is so awesome, etc. But everyone is always looking for some kind of exploit. How to exploit the bosses, how to exploit the experience system, how to exploit armors that you are not supposed to get that soon.
I wonder if it's a cultural thing. I wonder if that's more American or more Western. I don't know if it is. Probably not. But it just feels so wrong. It's like, why would you want to do that? Bookster says, I don't know about that. I hate the checklist thing of go find this item all over the map. In particular, GTA, I think the fun is buying cool items like flying cars. Yeah, then don't do that. Just don't go look for the things if you don't want to do that part of the game. That's fine. What about calling the hint lines? I mean, I never did it. The games back then were a little bit more confusing in some ways, but it's a slippery slope. Mick Doe has a good point. Yeah, play your first playthrough blind, but looking at guides for things on follow-up is cool. I agree. But that's not what I'm talking about. Jaffe, how the fuck would anyone have found the hidden message in God of War? Your job was not to find the hidden message if you didn't want to, Jacob. Jacob says no one was spending 10 minutes of hitting a statue. Cool. It wasn't meant for everyone. It was meant as a reward for the person who was like, I'm curious. This is weird. Let me fuck around with this. Oh, shit, it paid off. That's why it's there. If you got the secret message because somebody told you the number, then you don't fucking deserve it. You don't fucking deserve it. That's the truth. That's how I feel. Bacon Magma says, if somebody doesn't know what to do and they are stuck for too long, it gets boring. A simple search on YouTube is perfect. You don't understand what I'm saying, maybe. I blame the developer in that case. I'll give you a really fast example, Bacon. We had a puzzle in the first God of War. You get to this room and there's water in the center and there's a ledge on the other side. So you can't get there. If you pull a lever, though, a platform rises up from the water. You can go over on the platform, get to the other side, and there's a treasure chest or something. But you can't get back out of the room. There's no way to get out of the room. And so it's a puzzle. right? Well, we watch focus testers spend anywhere from like 10 to 40 minutes going, what the fuck? And then ultimately they got it. They realized, oh my God, if I actually pull the platform up and then get in the water and swim underneath it, there's an opening that gets you into a tube that gets you out of the room. That would never fly in a game today. It would in a big budget game, because it would be the focus testers and marketing would probably see the player go, oh my God, he's taking more than 5 minutes. We have to fix it. We have to play a sound cue or have a camera or this or that or the other. And that's fine. I mean, I understand why they do that with the budgets. I'm not saying that's wrong. You probably need to do that because a lot of people would have quit the game. But ultimately, though, if it is not something that's designed to be challenging, but most people eventually solve it, sure, you should use a guide. But the issue there isn't the guide. The issue there is the game's poorly designed.